Hi everybody and welcome to Out of the Gate, Daily Racing Form's weekend handicapping preview program. I'm Dan Illman. Thanks so much for watching. Here's what's coming up in this week's edition of Out of the Gate. It's opening weekend at both Del Mar and Saratoga. Summer is in full swing. DRF handicappers Matt Bernier, Mike Beer, and I will take a look at three major graded stakes races. The Grade 1 Diana for fillies and mares on the turf at Saratoga. The Sanford Stakes for 2-year-old. The Stars of Tomorrow perhaps at the Spa, and the San Clemente Stakes, a wide open race for 3-year-old fillies at beautiful Del Mar. Nicole Russo's Pedigree Pick segment focuses on race number 9 at Del Mar on Saturday. JK's got a Saratoga late pick 4 as his play of the day, and Craig Wilkowski, Timeform US, spotlights the San Clemente Stakes, plus best bets, horses to watch, tournament talk, and lots more. So let's break Out of the Gate. We begin Out of the Gate with our horse watch segment. Matt Bernier, opening day at Del Mar. You saw a brilliant 2-year-old filly.
I like what you did there. Yeah, this is a few weeks in a row that Hollendorfer continues to just roll out 2-year-olds, highly thought of ones. A few weeks ago at Los Al, he unveiled Instagrand. On opening day at Del Mar, he unveiled a 2-year-old filly named Brill. This was her beginning and her stretch run. You note that she stumbles pretty badly out of the gate there, and the fact that she was able to overcome that, I thought it was pretty impressive. She cost $1 million. She's by Medaglia d'Oro out of a Malibu Moon mare, and all she did was earn an 88 buyer in her first lifetime start. I kind of feel like all the things that she overcame, she galloped out well. Boy, it just feels like Hollendorfer is loaded top to bottom this year with 2-year-olds, and it sounds like there's a few more that are still left in the tank to come. But Brill, so far, I've got no knocks there. I thought this was an impressive debut. Boy,
that Medaglia d'Oro's had a pretty good run with fillies, and maybe Brill's the next good one. Mike Beer, Jason Service just doesn't seem to lose. It doesn't matter whether it's Monmouth, it doesn't matter whether it's New York. Now he's winning with first-time starters?
Getting a little ridiculous at this point, Dan. You're right about that. He won with everything this summer at Belmont Park. One thing that he hadn't been doing that well lately in New York, leading into this race that we're going to look at right now, Jason Service was 0 for his last 43 with first-time starters in New York. That streak is over. Here is Lutsky, a New York bred, first-time starter. He broke like a rocket from the gate, and he never looked back in this race. This horse just runs away from this field in the stretch, guys. 74 buyer speed figure for a New York bred first-time starter. We had 8 enter the gate for the Sanford on Saturday at Saratoga. Only one of them has run a faster figure than this horse on fast dirt. This horse is pretty good.
After finishing second in the Grade 2 Rachel Alexandra Stakes earlier this year, Brett Calhoun understandably wanted to stretch Classy Act out. Heck, that's where the money is for 3-year-old fillies. But after getting walloped in the Kentucky Oaks, Calhoun decided to turn this filly back in distance. Sprinting is what she wants. I'm going to relive a tough loss. Let's go back to the Victory Ride Stakes. I need Classy Act at 8-1. She has been dueling from the start with the 6-5 favorite Mia Mischief. She's going to put away Mia Mischief. Here comes Sour on the outside. Sour had a perfect trip tracking the duel. Classy Act is going to look Sour in the eye right now and say, no, you don't. And it looks like in between horses, Classy Act is going to pull this off. And here comes a giant long shot, Dixie Serenade, to nail her on the wire. She won 2 duels, but she lost the war. Classy Act is pretty good. Now, I was hoping that Calhoun didn't get too aggressive. She's pretty good. I'm not sure she's Grade 1 good. Calhoun says what's next? The Grade 1 test at Saratoga. If she doesn't win the test, still keep an eye on Classy Act. I think she's a kind of horse that could win a race like the Gallant Bloom at Belmont over the fall. 3 to put in your DRF horse watches on DRF.com. Now let's get to some handicapping. The DRF bet Saturday race of the day is the Grade 1 Diana at the Spa. Let's take a look at the field for Saturday's DRF bets race of the day. It's the Grade 1 Diana Stakes. $500,000 is the purse. Carded is race number 10 at Saratoga. These fillies and mares are going 1 1/8 on the turf for expanded stakes previews of all the graded stakes races all weekend long. Head on over to video.drf.com or the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel, and you can access free formulator past performances for the Diana on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Mike Beer, what a surprise. Chad Brown very well represented with 3 strong entrants in the Diana. 3 things are certain on Saturday and in life: death, taxes, and that Sister Charlie will not be 20 lengths out of it after the first call of the Diana.
Yeah, I think those things are all true. I'm actually surprised Chad only has 3. I thought he could run a couple more in here as well. Listen, I think you're right about that. I don't think Sister Charlie's going to be a million out of it like she was as a heavy favorite last time in the New York. And we can throw the replay of that race up right now. I mean, she actually puts in a run at the end of this race. It's a little too late. You can see her right there switching to the outside. Her stablemate, 4-star Crook, is in front of her. She got the jump on her. And it just takes Sister Charlie a little while to get going. She starts making up ground here, final 1/8 of a mile now, and she's going to start running. She just runs out of real estate here, can't get up. I thought this effort was fine. It was still a little bit disappointing, though, because I thought this was a race she was supposed to win. I still think if she shows up Saturday and runs the race that she ran 2 back in the Jenny Wiley, that she's winning the Diana.
Well, she's got a tremendous amount of class and ability. We saw that in her win in the Jenny Wiley. One thing she doesn't have, though, is a great gate ability. She does not break well from the gate, and she's usually behind the 8 ball. There may not be a lot of pace in this race, Matt. Hawksmoor's pretty fast when she breaks.
That's the only reason that I'm going toward her. I kind of feel like there's a scenario where maybe she's just over the hill at this point. She doesn't want to run anymore, but you're not supposed to hold the gamely against her because she basically fell to her face coming out of the gate. And then 2 starts back, we're going to take a look at the Dahlia. I understand this was a disappointing sort of return to the races, but they were intent on sitting her off of a target, and she's at her absolute best when she's winging it on the front end. I kind of feel like there's a scenario where, look, if she's ever going to get back to a winning sort of race, this is it, where you just let her roll in the front end and say, come and catch me. Maybe she can't do it anymore, but just the possibility is too tempting for me to pass it up at a decent number.
I think Sister Charlie's the horse to beat. She's a horse I would use a heaping helping of any multiple race wager, but I might take a shot with a horse that I used as an out-of-the-gate horse watch a couple of weeks back, and that is the number 5, Ultra Brat. We're going to take a look at Ultra Brat's win in the Gallaret Stakes. Now, she swam home in this race because this race was over a bog. You see the fractions. They probably shouldn't have even run on the turf course Preakness weekend. Ultra Brat just simply relished the course conditions. Let's not really take this race at face value or the 100 buyer speed figure that came with it. I was hoping after this race, however, that Ultra Brat would find a grade 3, grade 2 spot, and that's what Graham Motion had in mind. He wanted to run in the Dr. James Penny Memorial at Parks. There was a lot of hot weather. It forced the cancellation of the card at Parks, and now Ultra Brat is here in the Diana. Yes, her big races have come over good to wet going, but she's also run pretty well on firm, and I think she'll be forwardly placed as well. If Hawksmoor can't run anymore, if she stumbles as she did in the Gamely, maybe Ultra Brat tries to take this field a long way. Maybe she's not good enough to win, but I think she outruns her odds and at least gets a piece in the Grade 1 Diana Stakes. Nicole Russo's Pedigree Pick segment focuses on Del Mar race number 9. Then we got Peter Thomas Fornatel with all the latest news and notes in the world of tournaments. After break, we'll be back for some more handicapping. The Sanford for 2-year-olds, the San Clemente at Del Mar for 3-year-old fillies on the turf. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, Nicole Russo coming to you from Lexington for Out of the Gate. Of course, our focus for the summer is on opposite coasts as Saratoga and Del Mar conducting their boutique summer meets underway now. Both meets feature outstanding 2-year-old racing. Of course, Dan Illman and I now bringing you spa babies from Saratoga throughout the summer. But for today's edition of Out of the Gate, I want to bring you a closer look at a maiden special weight out at Del Mar. Saturday's 9th race for 2-year-olds drew an overflow field with, I think, some very interesting horses. A quick skim through the sires and the main body of the field will show you Dueling by Violence, Pirate's Punch by Shanghai Bobby, and Yak by Flat Out. Those 3 stallions all did well in what I thought was a very competitive freshman sire division last season. Rowayton is by leading juvenile sire Into Mischief, while Truck Salesman is by Can the Man, a current freshman son of Into Mischief. And Magnificent McCool was a $625,000 juvenile by the late great Giants Causeway. Now, a deeper dive into a couple of these. As I mentioned, Pirate's Punch is by Shanghai Bobby, who's really continuing to emerge. Of course, had a juvenile stakes winner at the renowned Royal Ascot meeting last month, and has a couple of Group 1 winning juveniles in Brazil from his first Southern Hemisphere crop. Now, this colt is a half-brother to a pair of stakes performers, including this horse, Cocked and Loaded, an early juvenile who posted a sharp victory in the Tremont Stakes at Belmont, continued on to stretch out and win the Grade 3 Iroquois Stakes at Churchill Downs. Now, Pirates Punch also a half to Millionaire Gervin, whose graded stakes victories included the Grade 1 Haskell Invitational, as well as the Louisiana Derby earlier in the spring. A classy family here. Now, dueling, as I mentioned, by violence among last year's leading freshmen by both earnings and individual winners. This colt, who cost $475,000 as a yearling, is a half to a really good juvenile on this circuit a few years ago. No more. He won the Grade 2 Best Pal Stakes in his career debut. Eventual Grade 1 winner Moreno finishing deeper back in that field. Went on to finish second in the Del Mar Futurity and the Front Runner, both, of course, Grade 1 events on the circuit later in the season, running against the likes of horses like Capo Bastone, Power Broker, another precocious family. So dueling and Pirates Punch, both with graded juvenile ability in their immediate families, both by good young sires, and they're really interesting in this deep field Saturday at Del Mar. Thanks for tuning in this weekend Out of the Gate as we bring you action from coast to coast, and that includes Peter's Tournament Talk.
Peter Thomas Fornatale back with you on Out of the Gate. This week, my world travels take me to one of my favorite places on this earth. I'm speaking, of course, about Saratoga Springs, New York, here for the jewel meeting of the New York Racing Association. I'll have to do a little up and back to New York City, but most should be here most of the 6 weeks. Many days I will be hanging out at the Post Bar. I like to call it the Paddock Bar at Saratoga. If you are an Out of the Gate viewer or listener or DRF Players podcast listener, please come and say hi. Always love to talk to people who love racing and encourage you to come and have a cocktail, a cup of coffee, a hamburger, whatever it is, over at the Paddock Bar here at Saratoga. Saratoga starting. Del Mar already started the other fantastic summer meeting that gets so much horse players' attention. Both meets have important contests, of course. We've got the Del Mar contest coming up July 27th and 28th. That is a 2-day affair, $7,000 bankroll on that one. Actually, no, it's more than that now. It's $9,000, isn't it? I think they've upped that amount in recent years. Saratoga, 2 separate contests on the 10th and 11th of August, a $1,000 event on the Friday and a $2,000 event on the Saturday. First time Saratoga's ever had a Saturday contest. And you have opportunities to win into both of these contests this weekend at DRF tournaments. The Saratoga qualifiers on Saturday, you put up $410. One winning package for every 10 entrants. Those are worth $3,500. That means you get entries to both days as well as a $500 travel stipend. The Del Mar qualifier, that's going to be on Sunday. That one costs $495. 1 in 20 players win that package worth $9,500. Once again, some travel money and the big buy-in to the 2-day event. I know plenty of players will be doing both. Always impresses me, the coast-to-coast travel happening in the summer. Great opportunities on DRF tournaments. Other things happening as well. Qualifying continues apace for the Keeneland Challenge. And also, we have events looking forward to the World Championship of Handicapping. That, of course, is DRF's big money online championship event that will happening at some point in 2019. Stay tuned. Going to have, by the end of the summer, some announcements about the future of the WCH. That should be fun. As for me up here, I'll continue to cover tournaments. Going to be doing podcasts twice a week, Tuesday and Friday. This Friday's show, sponsored by the New York Racing Association. That's going to be fun. We'll be looking to preview the meet. We'll be back, Jonathan Kinchin and I, every Tuesday and Friday with those. I'll also be contributing some How I'm Playing pieces. And also, if you're live at the spa on Saturdays, second floor of the Carousel, 11 to 11:30, going to be hosting a little show with special guests talking about racing and everything that makes Saratoga special. Please come join us. That's all I have for this week. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. Stay tuned for more on Out of the Gate.
Are you a horse player looking to raise your game? For over 120 years, expert handicappers have relied on Daily Racing Form as their must-have source for news and data, featuring exclusive buyer speed figures, Timeform US pace figures, and integrated replays. DRF Formulator is the most powerful handicapping tool on the market today. Use what the pros use. Go to drf.com/formulator and enter code DRFTV to get your first card free. drf.com. Raise your game.
Welcome back to Out of the Gate. Two-year-olds take center stage in the Grade 2 Sanford Stakes at Saratoga on Saturday. Let's throw up the field. And while Chad Brown's got all the turf horses, Todd Pletcher is still the king of two-year-old dirt sprinters at the Spa. He's got two of the three morning line favorites, and the one Sombaye and the two Lexitonian. You can also take a look at the Grade 3 Sanford Stakes from a Spa baby perspective. Nicole Russo and I do an in-depth analysis, pedigree, workouts, race replay analysis, and selections. Expand the stakes analysis at video.drf.com. Mike Beer, the number one Sombaye. It's Pletcher. It's the morning line favorite, down on the inside again, where he was in his most recent start, the Tremont. Does that worry you? Because he didn't break in the Tremont.
Yeah, he's not a horse with a lot of early speed, so I guess that could be a concern. But you know what? His inside trip in the Tremont last time worked out pretty well for him. We're going to look at the replay of that race right now. Now, he just got outrun early in this race, but you can see Luis Saez, who rode him that day, just saving all the ground. He cuts the corner, and then he finds a seam right here. He's going to angle out. This all works perfectly for him. And then to top it all off, watch the horse on the lead right here. That's the filly May Never Know. She is going to stop finding suddenly right here as they come to the 16th pole. It gives Sombaye a real look at this thing, guys. I thought he was going to get there. He's just going to get out finished by a horse who got through on the rail. All things considered, I thought he ran fine. I liked his debut at Gulfstream just fine. I have no problem with anybody who likes him in the Sanford, but I am going to try and beat him.
Not sure he has such an edge at 2-1, especially breaking from the inside. That can be a tough place for an inexperienced baby. Matt, you like the other Pletcher, Lexitonian, a horse that I thought was very professional last time out.
Yeah, I agree, and that's kind of part of the reason that I went this way as opposed to the other Pletcher in this spot. He's got a little bit of tactical speed as well, and I think that really was the deal breaker for me. We're going to take a look at that debut score that he had at Belmont a few weeks back. You see he's down on the inside. He's in the Calumet Silks, and that's not an easy spot for a first-time starter to be going through, squeezing up the inside. And okay, maybe he didn't bury this field, but I thought he did it well enough. You're going to see his ears actually go up there once he hits the front as well. I do think there's an opportunity for a forward move here in start number 2. I don't know what you're going to get for any kind of a price, but I think the additional distance is going to work just fine for him. And again, that little bit of tactical speed that he brings to the table, that to me is the deal breaker. As
I said in the open, Pletcher, the king of the two-year-old dirt sprinters. But Mark Cassie's come to Saratoga loaded for bear. 3 entrants in the Schuylerville, and he's got a very fast horse on the outside here, Mike.
Yeah, Strike Silver earned the top figure in this field for his debut. It was a Churchill Downs race at 5 furlongs. I liked what this horse did, though. He had a lot of speed. He put away a couple challengers. The horse he wound up holding off at the finish, Nitrous, is a very well-regarded Steve Asmussen baby. So I think he beat a good horse that day, too. He did a lot of good things first time out, guys. I like that he's drawn to the outside in a field with other speeds to the inside. I think there's a lot of things pointing to this horse.
I agree. I'm going to go with Strike Silver as well. This horse was the sale topper at OBS October as a yearling last year, going for $275,000, made the debut for Cassie at Churchill Downs, faced pressure from 2 other horses, and then gamely held off that well-regarded first-time starter Nitrous in the lane. Mark Cassie also does well with these kind of horses. We'll cue the formulator fact. Over the past 4 years, with debut-winning 2-year-olds coming right back in their second start sprinting on the dirt, Cassie wins 30% with a 288 ROI. Solid outside post position gives Julien Leparoux plenty of options. He can go, he can sit. I think Strike Silver is going to run big in the Sanford on Saturday. We'll move out to Southern California from dirt to turf. The Grade 2 San Clemente Stakes is up next. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 2 San Clemente Stakes at Del Mar on Saturday. Race number 8 has a purse of $200,000. We're going 1 mile, 3-year-old fillies on the grass. For expanded stakes analysis, Matt and I went about 27 minutes in our stakes preview for the San Clemente Stakes. For expanded stakes analysis, not 27 minutes of all the other graded stakes this weekend, head on over to video.drf.com or the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Matt, a former out-of-the-gate horse watch of yours is still undefeated. It's Ollie's Candy, trying turf for the first time. She's got a big pedigree, a terrible post.
Yeah, the turf doesn't really bother me whatsoever. I think she's going to be able to handle that. The question comes down to, can she overcome post 14 against a good field? We're going to go back to her most recent start. This came on the dirt in the Summertime Oaks down at Santa Anita, and I understand we're talking about probably a subpar field of fillies that she beat, but considering this is her first time going 2 turns, first time on a different surface, first time in Southern California, I think she checked a lot of boxes off. Now the only one she has to check off is, can she handle the turf? And you brought up the pedigree, Dan. She's supposed to be able to handle this. She's won on synthetic. I'm not too worried about the surface. Corey Nakatani's going to have to work out something, though, from post 14.
A couple of daughters of Animal Kingdom in this field, Mike. You like one of them, the number 8 Animosity, and I think you like the cutback in distance a little bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the cutback to might really helps her. They went 9 furlongs with her last time. I didn't think she ran poorly, but she was very hard to settle early in that race. A big hold. She was taken under early, but she didn't want to settle on the early lead in there. I think it maybe cost her at the end. To be honest with you, I was pretty surprised she finished second in there. She drifted out wide off the turn. You can see on the replay where she's on the lead, but she's just not really running. She's starting to drift out here. I thought she was going to be off the board here. I like that she sort of found herself again late. She races on to be second best at the end here. This performance was okay. I'm hoping that she's better going shorter, and I'm hoping that she settles a little bit this time, because this filly, I thought anyway, ran really, really well in her first 2 career starts. I think this filly has some talent.
Especially the debut, where she came from off the pace. And with a filly like War Heroine in this race, I think you're coming from off the pace in this spot. An intriguing horse at a price. Miss Bad Behavior is my top selection, the number 2. She's 9-2 on the morning line, and she is rock solid. She's been there in most of her turf starts, first or second in all 4 of them. Let's go back to her most recent race, the Grade 3 Providencia Stakes. And Kent DeZormo put Miss Bad Behavior on the lead, and I thought she was going a legitimate pace at this 9-furlong distance. It took a solid runner in Fatal Barret to run her down late, but Bad Behavior finished ahead of Paved, who came back to beat Animosity in that Grade 2 Honeymoon with an 87 Beyer speed figure. Miss Bad Behavior is very tactical. I think she can sit, and I think that's key on Saturday. We mentioned War Heroine. There are other speeds in this race. I think Miss Bad Behavior is going to take advantage of that good inside post position in post 2, work out a mid-pack or stalking trip while saving some ground. Kent will give her a chance to win in the local prep for the Del Mar Oaks, the Grade 2 San Clemente. J.K. Jonathan Kinchin's play of the day focuses on a Saratoga Pick 4 on Saturday. Greg Wilkowski, Timeform US, spotlights the San Clemente Stakes. He'll tell us if we're on point or not. Let's go to those segments right now.
Hey everybody, welcome to JK's Play of the Day. It's a great week in racing. Get started on Wednesday, Saratoga on Saturday. A ton of fun. Looking forward to heading up to Saratoga. This is going to be my first time ever going to opening day at Saratoga. I'm going to give you a pick 4 play for Saturday. Saratoga's tough, and we talked about it on the podcast. If you can spread a little bit in some of these spots, this is the perfect time to do it. In the first leg, race 8, it's a 5.5 turf sprint. You got to remember when you're coming back from Belmont, where they're running at 6 and 7 furlongs. These are 5.5, a little bit sharper. I love horses that are forwardly placed. I'm going to use 4 horses in here. I like more than 3, the 5, the 6, and the 10. If you form US, those 4 horses that are front part of the field, I think that one of those horses will get the job done in this 5.5 turf sprint. Going on to the next race is the Sanford Stake. I love Lexingtonian in this spot. 93 time for me your last time. The same as stablemate. Drawn outside. Donnie B, Todd, Saratoga. What else? I think that horse is going to improve off of that. Didn't really take a lot of money that time on the debut. I think the horse went off at 3-1. A little bit typical, atypical for a Todd horse. But I think this horse is going to be dangerous in here. I'm going to surround my pick 4 with this horse and single the 2 Lexingtonian. On to the next race, the Grade 1 Diana. This is a tough race for me to try to figure out. I thought Sister Charlie was going to run really well in a 1.25 mile race last time. She kind of had a weird trip, was a little bit too far back. Now she's cutting back to a distance that I think won't be as good as that one, but she's still training really well. She's been training with a Raving Beauty, and I think both of those horses are going to run well, the 1 and the 6 I'm going to use. But I'm also going to use the 2, Proctor's Ledge, who ran a big race at Saratoga back when she was a 3-year-old, has kind of come into form at her 4-year-old year, and I think that she's got a chance to turn the tables on these, and she could be one that could offer a little bit more value while the rest of the Chads are taking all the money. On to the last race. I'm going to just try to survive in advance here. I'm going to use the 2, 6, 8, 9, and 11. It's a little bit tricky with these turf races in the turf course earlier in the meet at Saratoga. It's always firm. You don't know what's going to happen, if you're going to get a speed horse to wire, or if it's going to all fall apart. I'm going to spread here, hope for a little bit of a price. We'll see you next week. Have a great opening weekend.
Hi, this is Craig Milkowski of Timeform US, and this is this week's Timeform US Spotlight race, the San Clemente, being run at Del Mar. It's a turf race, a turf route at a mile, and the first thing I like to look at is the pace projector. And the thing that really jumps out here is the pace projector thinks there's going to be a fast pace. There's several speeds in the race, as you can see by the box. Not only are they fast, but they're bunched close together. I've highlighted at the bottom that the 4 horses adding blinkers. The horse has very low early speed, so it shouldn't make much impact on the pace. One thing I do want to note is that Pursuing the Dream, who is considered is projected as the leader in the race, is in a different race on Sunday. It is always possible she could run in that spot. But in this case, I still chose this race for our spotlight because even if she defects for the other race, there's so much speed in here, it's not going to change the flag for the race. It still should project to be a fast pace, barring multiple scratches. And now I'm going to take a look at why that is. All of these horses that I show here are listed as either a leader, a speed, or a tracker on Timeform US running styles. Leader is pretty self-explanatory. These horses want to be in front. Speed are horses that have won wire to wire, but also can stay very close if they're not right up front. And then trackers who like to lay just a little bit off the pace and then press, probably heading into the turn, they're going to want to challenge for the lead. So considering that there's a fast pace in here, I kind of look at the Timeform US late pace ratings. And one of those that you're going to see there is West Palm Beach. He is tied as the top rated Timeform US late pace horse. But I say he, it's a she. These are 3-year-old fillies. But I do have a little caution with this one. She did win her debut in the state. She sat off a very hot pace, as you can see by all the fractions being coded in red. And she won pretty easily with a Timeform US speed figure of 100. Next out, she jumped up in class to the Grade 3 Senorita. Unfortunately, there were timing problems that day and no fractions were recorded. But she was a 3-5 favorite, and she just didn't get the job done. Watching the replay, which you can do in Timeform US just by clicking on the race date and the name of the track. I did watch the replay. She never looked a winner that day. She was outfinished by some others. And to be clear, her Timeform US speed figures just aren't quite as good as some of the others in here, even given the possible pace edge. So what I did is I went with the horse she's tied with on the top Timeform US late pace rating, and that's Miss Sienna. Miss Sienna is a horse I think is going to have a little bit of hidden form. A few things that I like about her. For one, she's turning back in distance. She ran in the 1 1/8 honeymoon last time at Grade 2, a little bit of a higher class. And though she does face some of the others in here, I think she had a tough trip that day. She was basically wide around both the turns. Even the announcer mentioned it. She still kind of made a big move into the stretch before flattening out. And she's the one I'm going to go with in here. I think we're going to get a big price. She was 6-1 in the honeymoon. The running line doesn't look particularly flattering unless you dig a little deeper. So for my Timeform US Spotlight horse this week, it's going to be Miss Sienna in the San Clemente at Del Mar. That's it for this week. Now let's send it back to Dan in the studio.
Time for our best bet segment here on Out of the Gate. Mike Beer, Naira analyst, you have something opening weekend at the Spa.
I'm going to try and kick off the late pick 4 on Saturday with Romantic Babe. She's number 11 in race number 8. This is her second start off the layoff. She came back off of a long layoff last month at Belmont, stumbled very badly at the start of that race, and then just sort of rode the rail and didn't get all in that race. I think she can do better than that based on this performance. This is her career debut last year on this track at this distance. She was off the pace early. You're going to see her split horses right here in mid-stretch, and I love the way she finishes in this race, guys. A big finish at the end. She gallops out strong past the wire. This was a nice debut. I think she has a lot of upside in a field where the horses are pretty good, but I think she fits really well. If she takes one small step forward here at 12-1, I have to bet this horse.
Matt, Indiana Grand?
Yeah, a little bit bizarre, but this is why you put horses in your horse watch over on DRF.com. I'm going to go with the number 2 horse, Still Chief, in the 7th at Indiana Grand. It's a $10,000 claimer. The reason I've been waiting for this horse to come back, last time we saw this horse was in December of last year, 2017. We're going to take a look at the replay. He had a couple things go against him. First, the start. See, he gets slammed on the outside, a little bit of a bobble. That puts him behind the 8 ball, especially considering the way the main track at Tampa played all meeting. Very, very kind to speed. This horse trying to come from last. I know this was a $6,250 claimer, but take a look at this run. He finishes full. Now, the concern is, where the heck's he been? He's been entered 3 other times. They scratched him each one of those times. Hopefully, we finally get to see him on Saturday. It looks like there's going to be plenty of pace for him to run at, and he's 8-1 on the morning line. I'll take a shot with Still Chief.
I'll go to Saratoga, race number 7, the number 7 Silver Wave, who was a classy horse in Europe last year. He even beat Talismanic, last year's Breeders' Cup Turf winner, in a group race over there, and he also competed in the Arc de Triomphe. He's now had 3 starts for Chad Brown without a victory, including his most recent start in the Grade 1 United Nations. He was 5-1 in that race, and we'll turn into the stretch there. And Silver Wave really doesn't do much running here, but there's a reason for it. This is a 3-turn race at Monmouth. He's 3 wide on the first turn, 3 wide on the second turn, 4 wide on the backstretch. There's no pace. The winner of this race, his uncoupled stablemate, is going wire to wire. And on the backstretch, Rajiv Mirage took Silver Wave 4 wide and tried to brush and get into the race because the pace was too slow. He tried to make and sustain a half-mile bid. He understandably flattened out late. I just don't think that trip worked out for Silver Wave. This time around, I'm hoping he gets covered up and makes 1 run. He's got plenty of back class. He's the 3rd choice on the morning line. That's the number 7 Silver Wave in race number 7 on Saratoga's Saturday card. We thank you all for watching Out of the Gate this week, and we urge you to follow all of DRF TV's latest offerings on Twitter. Follow at DRF Video. And for the latest news and notes from America's Turf Authority Daily Racing Form, follow on Twitter at DRF Inside Post. That's it for this week. Best of luck when your horses break out of the gate.